today is fundamentally anti-human. Whether it's the mad panic to get to net zero, irrespective of the human cost, or the gender botherers' relentless campaign to strip the term woman of all meaning, progressivism is at war with humanity. Abortion was sold to us as being safe, legal, and rare. Now progressives insist that anything other than abortion up until birth, for any reason at all, is a violation of human rights. Same-sex marriage was sold to us about being love and equality. Within a few short years of its legislation, our finest political minds can't say for sure what a woman is. And 6 years ago, euthanasia was legalised in Canada for terminally ill people suffering intolerable pain and with the end in sight. But politicians are now about to allow euthanasia for the mentally ill, and academics are arguing in favour of euthanasia for the poor. That's right, 2 University of Toronto bioethicists have argued this month that it would be wrong for the state not to help poor people die if they've grown, weary of living in poverty.
That's my Canadians for you. Thank you, Canada. And I had to fight somebody that would come on my channel and keep promoting it and promoting it and promoting it. I had to block him, and I qualify for euthanization as a half Ukrainian and a half German Jewish person. I know everybody in my neighborhood does.
The Journal of Medical Ethics, Professor of Philosophy Amy Mullen argued, to force people who are already in unjust social circumstances to have to wait until those social circumstances improve, or for the possibility of public charity that sometimes is unreliable, that's unacceptable, she said. In a subsequent interview, she argued that refusing to kill the poor at their request amounts to perpetuating their suffering. Assisted dying would be, she said,
in a rich country like Canada, who's making the suffering? Our politicians.
The least harmful thing a government could do for such people. Medical assistance in dying was sold to Canadians as compassion for the terminally ill. Now it's being...
now I've done a lot of studying on compassion for the dying and the very ill people. And they have a really passionate place to die. They are drugged so they don't feel pain, and they are made comfortable so they're not stressed. So anybody worrying about them in the hospice, they're having a proper death. They're getting to die when it's their turn. They're having a sacred death. So any of you use, it's really painful for these people. They're not in pain anymore. We have drugs for that. That's not even an excuse anymore. Shame on you guys. Every day I wake up, I know I qualify for euthanization. There isn't a day I don't miss.
Rolled out as a cure for mental illness, homelessness, and poverty. An online survey of 1,000 Canadians conducted earlier this month by Research Co. found 28% of people approved of state-sponsored death as a solution to homelessness, and 27% of people approved of it as a...
Oh, by the way, they used my neighborhood and all the tents and all the violence to make people hate homeless people and poor people. It was done on purpose, even though all poor people aren't like that.
Solution to poverty. Don't worry that life is getting harder. The government is making dying easier, as military veteran and 5-time Paralympian Christine Gaither found out. Now, Gaither told a parliamentary inquiry how she was offered death when she complained to Veteran Affairs about a delay installing a wheelchair ramp at her home.
I have a letter saying that if you are so desperate, madam, we can offer you medical assistance in dying.
Where's my wheelchair ramp? Well, I'm sorry, it's on back order. Would you like to die instead? That's not assisted suicide, that's very assisted suicide. And it wasn't an isolated...
It's murder-suicide
case. Veteran Mark Menke told a parliamentary inquiry how an associate rang the Department of Veteran Affairs for support, only to be offered death.
But his primary concern was that during his original phone call with the VAC service agent, somehow in that conversation he was told, "We've done it before and we can do it for you." First he asked, "Why are you asking me this? Well, I just thought you should know if up the road, but I'm in a good place right now. He expressed that to me that things were sunshine and roses prior to this phone call. He was feeling good about life. Post phone call, he left the country because he was devastated by this phone call. It's called sanctuary trauma, where the place you go for help steps on your neck.
Veterans Minister Lawrence Macaulay told CBC News there were more instances of military veterans being told they should give death a chance.
To start with your ongoing investigations into veterans being offered medical assistance and dying by an employee of your department, has your investigation yielded any new cases? Where are we on that?
No, well, in fact, as you know, when it started first, we had 2, and then we had the investigation. It went to 4, and
Can't help you live, happy to help you die. So thoughtful of the government. But it's not just the government promoting death as a lifestyle choice that everyone should consider trying at least once. Fashion house La Maison Simons last year produced a 3-minute advertisement promoting euthanasia as the most beautiful exit.
Dying in a hospital is not what's natural. That's not what's soft. In these kind of moments, you need softness.
I have to interrupt this because I had a near-death experience. Well, I was dead for 3.5 minutes, and I went to hell, and hell exists. And there is a rule you're not supposed to... Oh, yeah, I failed to commit suicide and jump off a 12-story building, so I would have been in hell now. Okay, because I was from North Vancouver into one of these drug buildings, and with no police protection. Once again, we're able to be harassed by druggies and everything. And that was 10 years ago. And in 10 years, I haven't had a good time at all. I qualify for assisted murder-suicide. My government thinks my life and all our lives aren't worth it. And they use the druggies to show poor people in really bad light. And that's what these Australians don't know. Like, I'm pretty depressed. I went outside.
Viewers were told that last breaths are sacred as the narrator, an attractive woman in a wheelchair, is shown on a picturesque beach.
I spent my life filling my heart with beauty, with nature, with connection. So I choose to fill my final moments with the same. I saw the light in your eyes. Last breaths are sacred.
Not when
the
you're
narration,
murdered
backed by an inspirational musical score, is set to beautiful images of bubbles, candlelit forest, beaches, and friends.
That's not death. You guys can go and investigate deaths. You can investigate hospice nurse. The hospice nurse I've been following is all of a sudden realizes, hey, there's something more to death. But to get someone to commit suicide and you get to kill them, you ruin their death. And if you are so spiritually empty that you can't figure that out, don't ever talk to me about it or promote euthanization on my channel, anybody again, because it's not nice. It's evil.
Gathering around in support. The advertisement ends with a dedication to the 37-year-old narrator who ultimately ended her life with the help of the state. Oh, and there's a small logo for the fashion retailer. If you're not busy this afternoon being euthanized by the state, we recommend you check out some of their winter fashions. Narrator Jennifer Hatch wasn't terminally ill when she applied to be euthanized. She'd reportedly spent years trying to get treatment for chronic pain caused by an inherited disorder that affects connective tissue. She eventually applied for euthanasia and within weeks was approved. When it comes to healthcare, dying is fast becoming what the Canadians do best. The callous message goes something along the lines of, you can spend years seeking medical treatment and get nowhere, or you can apply for euthanasia and receive help in under a month. Death is the latest fashion, and corporations are now advertising for people to try it on. La Maison Simons executive Peter Simons said the objective in shooting the video was to, quote, truly reflect who we want to be as a company. Simon said the company had made the courageous choice to use the privilege of our voice and platform to create something meaningful, something that is less about commerce and more about connection. Simon said the company had made the courageous choice to use the privilege of our voice and platform to create something meaningful, something that is less about commerce and more about connection. It's a pretty revealing insight into where Western culture is at right now, when a respected corporation parades its social justice credentials by cheering vulnerable people to consider an early death. I know, I'm sounding anti-death, aren't I? I'll try to look on the bright side. Here's the good news. Canada's Parliamentary Budget Office issued a report in October 2020 stating that government-sponsored deaths would cut healthcare costs by about $66 million. Others predicted that euthanasia would save the health budget by up to $100 million annually. It's only a matter of time before the Canadian government's...
All you migrants from Israel and Ukraine that get nice homes, we live in a shit show and we get euthanization. Yeah, you get flied here. We spend a lot of money on your wars. And I know exactly who brought Hamas into power, who funded Hamas. I'm very upset watching this program.
Starts asking citizens to kill themselves in order to save lives. And then, having killed the elderly, the disabled, and those who can't afford internet, they'll be able to boast that they have the best healthcare system in the world since everyone left is alive.
No, they're going to be working next on the Ukrainians and the other migrants and the Muslims. Oh yeah, you're having a bad time. You're on Hastings Street in the homeless shelter. Because there are Muslims now in the whole real shit show down the street. And they get kicked out, I think, at 7 or 8 o'clock, you know, in the worst neighborhoods. So, yeah, they qualify for euthanization. So, hey, nobody's safe. Not even you migrants.
And, well, you think I'm joking? Iceland boasts about having eradicated Down syndrome. The unspoken part is that they've done this by aborting almost all unborn babies that test positive for the syndrome. To paraphrase Mother Teresa, there is no poverty like Western poverty.
Come back out, damn it. Yeah, this is why I qualify. Look at, when I go outside, this hurts my eyes. There shouldn't be this in a rich country. All these people qualify for euthanization. They made us qualify for euthanization. All these druggies made us qualify for euthanization. And you know what? Cole, you should be offended by that.
Hi. 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 Can I get back in? We need space. I'm going to have to phone someone to make space for us to get in and out. No, it's dangerous here. See the police here all day? We don't have to ask. We've had too many issues asking. We have too many animals on our street. Ask.